Yeah, like keep it off social media.
Yeah.
Keep grieve in privacy. You know what you need? Call your therapist.
These people don't want to struggle. They want the attention that comes without looking they survived it. And that is why the internet keeps producing the same stupid image. Somebody crying in a clean apartment with a perfect lighting, a MacBook open and a Starbucks matcha latte on the table. And they have a face that's actually positioned like the sadness also needed a bit more composition. How am I supposed to believe that this is some raw moment? This whole thing dies the second that phone goes up. Once a bad moment gets framed, recorded, and most importantly, uploaded, it is no longer just pain. It is content made for attention. And that is their giveaway. Not their tears, it's just their organization. Somewhere before the crying, a decision got made. It wasn't, oh, how do I deal with this or how do I get through this? The real question was, where do I put the camera? And that is why those videos always look off. Even when the emotion is real, the moment has already been handed over to performance.
Never been relaxed ever.
Here is some of the data from the year. Yes, I made cute little charts of all of my cry data.
Part of the brain is still sad and another part is doing production. And now the whole thing stops looking honest and starts looking like sadness with a bit of marketing label.
Processing the most triggering breakup I've had in 9 years.
A person can be genuinely upset and still look ridiculous. These two things are not enemies. If you are crying and your first instinct is to turn yourself into content, I'm not just watching survivors. What I'm watching is somebody too addicted to attention to leave their own feelings alone for just 5 simple minutes.
Pay attention to me, hi.
And once you notice that, half the internet starts looking like a theater group for people who cannot accept that ordinary life is boring. And a bad day becomes a breakdown and a rough week becomes a chapter. A dry text becomes emotional devastation and somebody has one mildly irritating problem.
Guys, I have to fly back to USA. I'm in Italy right now, and I'm not...
And suddenly, we're all experiencing the collapse of the Roman Empire. That's not a struggle. That is self-importance with a ring light. And the reason this nonsense spreads so easily is simple. A normal life is not dramatic enough for these people. Most real problems are boring. Work is boring, bills are boring, feeling lost is boring, but being disappointed by someone is as well boring. Even being stressed is, most of the time, painfully ordinary. It does not make you special. It does not make you deep, and your life does not magically become this movie. It just makes your week a bit more annoying. But that is not enough for people who need an audience. So instead of saying, I'm frustrated and handling badly, they upgraded it. Everything has to sound heavier than it is. Every little inconvenience needs custom jewelry. Suddenly, they are not annoyed. They are shattered. And people are not overwhelmed anymore. They are carrying so much. What are you carrying? Rocks up the hill? You're just not having a bad week or month. They're surviving a season. You're just overdramatic. And social media rewards exactly that kind of stupidity. If you're quietly handling your life, well, that's gonna get you nothing. Solving your problem in private is not gonna offer followers. And taking that hit on your own and saying, well, that was shit, but anyway, you're moving on like a normal person does. Again, that will bring you nothing. But if you look a bit more hurt in public, and suddenly the room opens up for you. Now people check in, people are gonna comment on you, and your basic little inconveniences have turned into an identity. That is what these people are really chasing. Not peace nor solution. They just want witnesses. Now, if you put all that next to actual struggle, their whole performance starts looking insulting. The real hardship does not make your life bigger. It makes it smaller. You don't have a lot of options. You just need to survive. And then you stop narrating your feelings like a documentary and you're gonna start thinking in numbers. How much is left? If I skip this meal, can this stretch it for longer? I don't need to buy that new pair of socks. Maybe they can wait. What can be skipped until the next paycheck? That is what real struggle does. It strips all the decorative nonsense out of you and leaves you with a function. And I know that because I did not grow up treating discomfort like a personality trait. I know what it looks like when life narrows down to survival. Imagine that I had to make 1 can of pate last 3 days, and I still have the thing. There it is. Now, this is not a symbol, nor is it a cute prop. It's actually the real thing that I used to survive for 3 days on one thing. That was the food when I got lucky. When I was not lucky, I just went to bed. And what I just mentioned is just the part that these people will never understand. Real struggle is boring and a lot of times repetitive, and it didn't make you feel deeper. It does not make you feel poetic, nor does it make you reach your phone and think, oh, this should be a powerful thing to do in a vertical format. No, it just makes you unfazed. After a while, what else you gonna do? Sit there, cry every night because life is stupid? You just start to laugh at it. You do a bit of house de necas in my country, and you make a joke out of it because the alternative is letting the whole thing crush you for free. Then you get up and do the next thing every day. You do it badly sometimes, bitterly sometimes, but you just do it. And that is what makes these TikTokers' breakdowns look so absurd to me. When life is pressing on your neck, your instinct is survival, not presentation, not let me explain you my emotional state to some random strangers. Once life gets smaller, you just try to survive it. You don't start to package it. And anyways, if you want to be upset, fine. That's just normal behavior. Nobody cares. But when your whole behavior becomes the product, you stop looking hurt and you start looking pathetic. And that is where fakeness appears. Fakeness because the performance has become more important than the actual problem per se. The person is no longer just living to the moment. They are content farming to collect social credit for having a hard life without paying the full price of one. Give them just 2 days of actual struggle and their little act will disappear. It would take away that energy that they need to perform it. And then it would just drag them out of the aesthetic into actual survival. And survival generally is ugly. Survival does not care about your captions on screen, and it doesn't care whether the tears that caught the left eye in the lightning. It's just ruthless. What they want is the image of having been through something, not the actual thing. Real struggle hides because it has things to do in general, and fake struggle posts because posting is just the point. That is why one of them looks ugly and practical, while the other one looks a little performance piece filmed between coffee and charging the laptop. And that is why these people look so ridiculous. Because the world already has enough real suffering in it without comfortable idiots turning inconvenience into a personality trait. Ciao.